Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we will be making the Grinch. He is mostly no-sew. We will make the arms and then we'll move on to the head. When we get to the neck, we'll attach the arms. Then we'll go down to the tummy and the legs and right down to the feet. We will have to sew on the little eyeballs and make his face. And this is going to be a two-parter, so we'll do the whole Grinch in part 1, and then in part 2 we will do his hat and his little Santa jacket. And that will be all down in the description, so when you're done part 1 you can just go down there and click for part 2. This video is a crochet along, so I do every stitch with you. But I will have a little drop down for instructions that lasts about 15 seconds at the beginning of every row and every repeat row. There will probably be the odd spot where I say the wrong thing. So if you hear something unusual, just look up at the screen and I will also have that somewhere so you can see how I fixed it in editing. If you enjoy my video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and you will be notified every time I load a new video. As well, you can give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment. And I think this is more than long enough, so let's get started. All right, for the arm, we are going to start with a knot with a loop on the end. And you're going to grab that yarn and chain 1, and that just attaches our yarn to our loop and it does not count as a stitch. For row 1, we are going to do 8 single crochets into this loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for rounds 2 to 3, we are just going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's one row of 8. Let's do our second row of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Row 4, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase all the way around for a total of 12. So 1, and our increase, 2 and 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, and increase, 11 and 12. For rows 5 and 6, you're just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's one row, one more row of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. For row 7, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease all the way around for a total of 8. So 1, decrease is 2, 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, and decrease for 8. For rows 8 to 13, you're just going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. So you can do, that's 6 rows. You can do 6 rows of 8. I am just going to do 48 stitches because 6 times 8 is 48. And then I'm just going to flip my stitch marker every time I hit a set of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Flip your stitch marker if you're using one. And then I'm going to count consecutively now. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Flip your stitch marker. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flip your stitch marker, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, flip your stitch marker, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. Flip your stitch marker. This should be our last row. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, and 48. And we're back to our stitch marker, which we can get rid of now if you have been using one. Now we're going to add a little bit of stuffing to the hand, and I like to take my stuffing for both hands first, make sure I got about the same amount, so that when I do my second hand, I don't have to guess at how much stuffing I've added to the other one. So we're just going to stick that down, and we're going to put that at the very bottom, and we're just going to stuff the hand, and we're going to leave the arm without any stuffing so that it hangs down nice and it doesn't pop like straight out from his body. So put your hook back in, and now we are going to fold it in half. And we're going to put 3 single crochets across the top. So you're going to go into one side and then the matching stitch on the other side. So you're through both of those V's on each side, and then you're just going to do a single crochet. Give it a tug if you need to. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to tie that off, but leave a little bit of a tail because we are going to use that later when we fix the arms. Okay, so I am going to put a timestamp in the next screen. So if you need to do one more arm, you're going to go back to that timestamp. If you've already done that arm and you're doing your second arm, keep on going, and the video will continue in about 5 seconds. Okay, for round 1, you are going to make your knot with the loop on the end. Grab your yarn, chain 1, and that's just to attach your yarn, and it does not count as a stitch. And we are going to put 6 single crochets into this loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. For round 2, we are going to do 6 increases. So that will be 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around. So an increase for 1 and 2. Increase 3 and 4. Increase 5 and 6. increase, 7 and 8, increase, 9 and 10, and our last increase, 11 and 12. For row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So 1, increase, 2 and 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, and our last increase, 17 and 18. Row 4, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. So 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and increase, 23 and 24. Row 5, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Row 6, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28 and increase, 29 and 30. Rows 7 to 9 is going to be 30 single crochets all the way around. I am just going to do 30 times 3, which is 90, and flip my stitch marker every time I hit a set of 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So that was one row. Flip my stitch marker. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Flip your stitch marker. Got a little problem here. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. So that was our 3 rows, rows 7 to 9. Row 10, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, oh, I keep catching my other stitch here. 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, increase, 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and increase, 35 and 36. For row 11, we are going to do 5 single crochets, 1 increase, all the way around for a total of 42. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase, 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and our increase, 13 and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and increase, 20 and 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and increase, 27 and 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and our increase, 34 and 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and increase, 41 and 42. Rows 12 to 14 are just 42 single crochets all the way around. And because I have no idea what 42 times 3 is, I'm going to do 42 times 2, which is 84. And then after I'm done that, just keep on counting for one more row for our 3 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. That's one of 3 rows. 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. That's 2 rows. And now for our 3rd row. Usually I would just keep counting till I got to my stitch marker. But just in case there's some beginners watching, I will do the 3rd row starting from 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. And you should be back at your stitch marker. Okay, so for row 15, we are going to do 5 single crochets and 1 decrease for a total of 36. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and decrease for 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and decrease for 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, decrease for 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and decrease for 36. For row 16, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease, whoops, all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, and decrease for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, decrease for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and decrease for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and decrease for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and decrease for 30. Row 17, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease all the way around for a total of 24. So 1, 2, 3, and decrease for 4, 5, 6, 7, and decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, and decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, and decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, and decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. Row 18, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease all the way around for a total of 18. 1, 2, and decrease for 3, 4, 5, and decrease for 6, whoops, 7, 8, and decrease for 9, 10, 11, and decrease for 12, 13, 14, and decrease for 15, 16, 17, and decrease for 18. Okay, so you should have the head done as well as 2 arms. And now we are going to add the arms. So for row 19, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 3 single crochets through the arm and the head, 6 single crochets across the front, 3 single crochets through the other arm and head, and then 3 single crochets for a total of 18. So we'll start with our 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Okay, grab one of your arms, and keeping this as your back, you want to add your arm with the strings facing to the front because we will use them later to tighten up the arms. And you're going to go in through the first stitch of the arm and the next stitch of the head. So this was your last stitch, so this is your next stitch. And make sure you're going through both sides. And you're going to do 3 across. 1, 2, 3. Then you are going to do 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Grab your other arm, making sure the strings are facing the front, and you're going to do 3 single crochets across the arm through the head. So 1, 2, 3, and then you should have 3 single crochets left. 1, 2, and 3. If somehow you're off in your stitches, it'll be because you went in a stitch, skipped a stitch, or went in the same stitch. So just double check that. For row 20, we are going to do 2 single crochets and 1 increase for a total of 24. So 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, and make sure you don't go over these strings from your arm because we'll need them on the outside later on. 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16. Again, don't go on top of your tails of your arms. 17, 18, and your increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and your increase, 23 and 24. Rows 21 to 23, we are just going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. So I am just going to do 24 times 3, I believe that's 72, and I'm just going to flip my stitch marker every time I hit 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flip your stitch marker, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. It's 2 of our 3 rows. Flip your stitch marker. 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, and yes, 72. And flip your stitch marker. For row 24, we are going to do 3 single crochets and 1 increase for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, and increase 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, and increase 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase for 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, increase 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, increase 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and increase 29 and 30. Okay, so for rows 25 to 30, you are going to be doing 30 single crochets all the way around. And because this is, I believe, 6 rows, I'm going to let you do this on your own, and I will come back when we are ready to start row 31. Okay, you should now be done your 6 rows, rows 25 to 30, and ready to start row 31, which will be 3 single crochets, 1 decrease, all the way around for a total of 24. So 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4. 5, 6, 7, and decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, and decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, and decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. Okay, before we go any further, we are going to add some stuffing. And I bought some new stuffing that I do not like. There's just pieces all over me just grabbing one piece. It's got all these little curly things in it. So try not to judge this stuffing. I know it looks horrible. So you want your head to be on the firmer side, but do not stuff it so much that you are pulling and opening these stitches right here in the front. Not so much to worry about if you do it in the back. Extras here. Oh, I do not like this at all. I feel like I got a vacuum and I've only grabbed 2 chunks. Okay. Now as you're putting your stuffing in, you want to kind of shape it a bit. You want to get up in that point and then kind of come out a bit around the sides and the front, just to give it that kind of pointy shape with a bit of the cheeky, I want to say egg shape, but it's definitely not egg shaped. I think I'll add a little bit more. Now, where did I write that down? If you are using safety eyes, because we are going to be making eyes, but if for some reason you do not want to sew on eyes and you want to use safety eyes, you're going to want to put them in now, because we're going to start on the legs and close them up, and you do not want to try and put your safety eyes in once we get any further than this. So they are going to go between row 11 and 12. Find your center. Center's about here. Nope, let's do there. Go down 11 rows, starting at your circle for your loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you're going to want to go down in here. And what did I buy? 2 holes from the center. So this is actually where I think my center is going to be in the end. So you're going to go 1, 2, and your eyes will go in here or here. 1, 2, and then put them in the 3rd or the 4th stitch over, depending on how much you want to bring it in later on. So then you'll have an idea of what they look like. Take your stuffing out, put your backs on, and then re-stuff it. But that's only if you're using safety eyes. These safety eyes are in the yellow part. They are not in the green part. So if you're doing it this way, don't add safety eyes right now. Okay, we're going to find our center for the legs now. I'm going to have to pull this out a bit so I have room to go down my leg. So you are going to find the front kind of center, so just kind of squish it down nice and even. And what you want to find is the sides, the center of the sides now. So this is going to be your front, starting at this stitch here. And then the ones over here, these are going to be your back. So starting on this stitch, you're going to count over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that will be the end of your first leg. So you're going to put it over in the 7th stitch, and that will be the beginning of your second leg. I'm just going to get my yarn ready. Now what you want to do is you want to count 12 stitches around, including the stitch that you have marked with your needle or whatever you've used. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you want to put your needle in that stitch, and then you're just gonna use a piece of yarn as a marker, and you're going to tie that in a bow so it's easy to undo. And then this way you will not touch this second leg when you are going around on your first leg. And then just tuck that in out of your way, and we'll forget about that for now. Now we will start our first leg. Bring your stitch marker over if you're using one. We are going to do, for round 1, 12 single crochets all the way around. So starting in your next stitch, 1, 2, and don't worry if your stitches on the front and back are different than mine. It's all going to depend how you found your center. You just want to make sure you have 12 all the way around. So you're not going to go into this stitch where your marker is. That is the stitch for your second leg. You're not going to go in this stitch where your marker is. You're going to go in this next stitch over here. So for me, that is 3. And if you want to give it a little tug, do that. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And that should bring you right back to your stitch marker. For rows 2 to 6, we are just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. So this is round 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Flip your stitch marker. Okay, round 3, another 12 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Move your stitch marker. This will be round 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. This should be round 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then hopefully this is round 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. For row 7, you are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase all the way around for a total of 18. So 1, 2, and 3 for your increase. 4, increase 5 and 6. 7, increase 8 and 9. 10, increase 11 and 12. 13, increase 14 and 15. 16, and increase 17 and 18. Okay, so for row 8, we are going to be doing his little toes. And if for some reason you do not want to make his toes, wherever we do these little, I'm not sure if they're a cluster or a puff stitch, just do 1 single crochet in there instead of, let's call it the puff stitch. Now, just in case we are not all in the same stitches from where we started, we are going to mark off the center of our leg. So just fold it, find your center. I'm going to do this one, I think. Maybe this one. Okay. I hope that was in the camera there. So I've got my center. And then I am going to do 2 stitches over for 1 toe. And I'm going to do 2 stitches over for the other toe. So it's 1, 2, and then we're going in the 3rd one. And then that way our toes will all be on the front side instead of being twisted around if we're not all in the same stitches. I might not even be in the same stitches as the guy I did the pattern for. Okay, so I have 5 stitches, single crochets written down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to 7, it looks like. 6, 7. Hopefully they're not too, no, looks okay. So in this first stitch where you had your stitch marker, we're going to do our puff stitch. So yarn over, in through the stitch, grab your yarn and pull up and through. We're going to do that 4 times. So that was 1, yarn over, in your same stitch, grab your yarn, pull up and through. So that was 2, yarn over, in that same stitch, grab your yarn, pull up and through, yarn over, in that same stitch, grab your yarn, pull up and through, and then we are going to pull our yarn through all of those loops. Now we're going to do 2 single crochets. So 1 in the next stitch. You can kind of puff that up and pull tight, and then 2 in the next stitch. So now you're going to do your next puff stitch. Remember 4 times, yarn over, in and through, and pull your yarn up. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Grab your yarn and go through all those loops. And then 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. And then we'll pull out our stitch markers and we'll do our last toe. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're just gonna crochet back to our stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And keep in mind, we probably have a different amount of stitches because I am 2 off from my original one I did. Okay, so now we are going to add our stuffing to our leg before we do the rest of our decreases. So you probably have to put a little bit up into the body, but we don't want it firm up in the body. We want his body kind of on the softer side. And then we want his legs to be on the firmer side because we want him to kind of stand on his own. Okay, so let's get the rest in his leg here. And when you do the leg, you want all the stuffing to be even with the bottom of his foot. So about like this. You don't want too much puffing up over top, or you won't have a flat area for him to stand up. Okay, so for this should be row 9. We're going to be going in the back loop. So for the back loop, instead of going like we usually do through both V's, this is your front loop right here, and then this is your back loop. So we're going to be going down and through these stitches. Don't miss your stitch. This is actually our first stitch right here. Okay. And try not to go through the stuffing because it's really tricky to fix once it's going through all your stitches. Okay, so get in that back loop. And we are going to do 1 single crochet and 1 decrease for a total of 12. So 1 and decrease for 2, remember to stay in the back loops, 3 and decrease for 4, 5, and decrease for 6, 7, and decrease for 8. Make sure you're going in each stitch around these toes. Take your time. Oops, I talked and I forgot what I was on. I think I'm on 8. If I'm not, ignore my counting right now. 9, and a decrease for 10. Oh, I pulled these pretty tight. 11, and decrease for 12. And for row 10, we are just going to do 6 decreases. And we're going back in the normal way through both sides of the V. This is your last chance to add stuffing. If you need to add a little more, I think I'm okay. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases, 4 decreases, 5 decreases, and 6 decreases. And if for some reason you have 5 or 7, don't worry about it. This is on the bottom of the foot and you are not going to see it. You'll be the only one who knows. And then just slip stitch and tie that off. Even a bit of a tail, because you're going to tie this up, cinch it up, and then you're going to come up here into the, I guess his bum, and bring that up and tie it. All right, I'm going to get rid of my stitch marker now. Grab your darning needle. Oh, I just realized all these stuffing pieces are probably going to stick to this. Oh, not yet. Good thing I'm not using black. Yuck. Okay. So now you're going to sew up the bottom. And I've just grab either the front loop or both loops and just weave in and out. Then you pull that tight. I like to tie one little knot. And then go down the center of the foot, or as close to the center as you can find. And then out the back, close to where the legs join, you are going to just bring that out and through and leave that there until you get your second leg done. Okay, now let's start off our second leg. And you're going to need a new piece of yarn. Leave a bit of a tail because we are going to use this to sew up this little hole that gets left. So tie your knot with the loop on the end. And we are going to attach that to the back side. Now if you took your stitch marker out like me, your toes will remind you where the front is. I should have waited till I got finished this leg, but sometimes I forget what I'm doing. And we're just going to attach this yarn about 1 stitch over from where we marked off. We don't want to attach it over here because when we pull this part closed, we don't want our leg to come over like this. So fairly close to the center where his legs meet. Oh, I always do that. Hook, then yarn. So pull that through your stitch. And you're just going to make 1 chain to attach it. And then we are going to do 1 single crochet into that same stitch. And it's going to be awkward because we have this other leg over here stuffed. But like I said before, take your time. And now we are just going to put 12 single crochets all the way around. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now if you're in the same spot as me, you're where you marked your stitches. So you're going to go in that one on this side. For me, it is 11. Then flip it around. And then you need to go into this stitch right here on the other side. So that's my 12th stitch. Just make sure you get in the right spot. And then pull it tight. Oops, that looks horrible in the camera. I apologize for that. I haven't been looking. And then finish that single crochet off. Okay, now you can get rid of this, and that will help with a little bit of this mess we got going on here. Now, this is your leg tail. You don't want that in anywhere. And this is where you're going to tie, so you want to keep that down and out of your way as well. And then I'm just going to use that chunk of yarn we had in his leg as my new stitch marker. And then you're going to start round 2 right here where you're chain 1 and you're behind your first single crochet. So right in here. Okay, I am going to leave you to finish off this second leg. You know how to get the toes in the right spot. I'll write it down for what I did for the second leg, but go your own way, keeping the toes centered like we did with the little orange stitch marker. Okay, so you're going to do rows 2 to 10 of the leg, and I will put a little screenshot with the pattern for the second leg that you can just pause and do on your own, and then I will join you back and we'll tie all these strings together and in. Okay, we should have our guy mainly done, and we are just going to tie in all our loose ends here. So we'll begin with our legs. So what we want to make sure when we do our legs is that we pull them so that our bottoms are flat. And then we're going to give that a fairly tight tie so they stay that way and don't come out, because there will be a little bit of play once you tie this off, I'm just going to a good tight tie. Two or three times. And then going in the same stitch you came out of, you're just going to thread that up and through somewhere on the back side. And take our tail we left when we did our second leg. And now you are going to go in these 4 stitches back and forth. So this way for the one, flip it around, and then go in the other way, making sure you're going across that stitch so you're not just pulling it right back out where you went. And then just do that 1 or 2 more times. I just do 2 total. Whoops, my needle came out. I thought I was being quick, but now I won't be. And then we're just going to tie a little knot right close to where you came out so we can hide it back in there when we pull our string through. And I did a pretty messy knot there. So where's that coming out? And I'm going to put mine in the same hole so I can cut them all at the same time. And give that a good pull, especially if you did what I did and you made your knot funny. And just give that a cut. And then now, if this is your first time following my videos, you will see why we left these strings. So we are going to take our string and we are going to put it right in the hole where our last stitch through the arm and the head was. So that was our last stitch right here. We're going to go in that hole. We can come out back through the center, right close to where the neck and body joins. And then we're going to do the same thing for the other arm. Find where our last stitch was and go in there and come back through that same stitch you put the other arm string through. And then we are going to pull those arms, kind of cinch them in and bring that knot through the body. Now you can tie this as tight or as loose as you want, depending on how you want your arms to look. So just give them a little tie, bring those arms in nice. That might be a little too much. And then just secure that with a couple of knots. And thread your ends in. Whoops, and through somewhere. I'm going to go down. Okay, I think we're going to do the eyes so we can have a little better idea of our placement for our face. So grab your yellow, or you could use white. I prefer yellow, but white will work as well. And your 6mm safety eyes if you have them. If you're embroidering them on, don't worry about that part. And we'll just get the eyes pinned on in a second. Okay, so grab your yellow or whatever color you're using for the eyes. And you're going to make your knot with the loop on the end. Now, you might want to make this a little smaller because you don't want that hole to show. But it will make it a little trickier to do your single crochets in there. Excuse me. If you use a magic ring, now is a great time to use it. We're going to go over our tail and cinch that in a little bit. So grab your yarn and make your chain to attach your yarn, which does not count as a stitch. And now we're going to put 6 single crochets into the loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull that tail if you can to make that your loop a little tighter, and then you're going to go into your next stitch and just slip stitch and tie that off. And you'll want to make 2 of these. I'm not going to bother putting another one in. That's easy for y'all. And then leave a good amount of a tail because you're going to go around it. And I had to go around twice to make it look nice. So you want a little bit of extra there. Okay, you should have your 2 eyes. And what I did was I used this as my top of my eye. That's where I'm going to tie it and put it in eventually. And you're going to take your safety eye if you're using them. And I went straight across from there into the stitches here. Now you want to be careful because when you're sewing them on, you want to have these stitches available to stick your needle in. I need to make myself a bit of a hole here. Hopefully that worked. Because when you put your back on it, it's also going to be a little bit bigger. Sorry, this is not looking easy, but it should be. Go in there. There we go. All right, so I kind of have a couple loops that I can sew into on this side. And when you put your back on, make sure you don't pinch those shut. That's part of the reason I had to do it twice. I was a little close and only had 1 loop instead of 2, which I may have again, but that's okay. Do that for your second eye. So I put it this way because it'll be on this side, and then just get your other eye in there. Come on. There we go. Make sure you pull your stitches out a bit. And then put your back on. There we go. Okay, now you're going to want to find the center. And the easiest way for me is I find my 6 single crochets that I have in the front between the arms. So 1, 2, 3, and I just go. So that's that's in between 3 on each side. And I just use that and I go up a bit. I think this is going to be my center, but I'll put it in there for now. And then we are going to count down. The eyes are going to go between rows 11 and 12, so we're going to count down 11, starting at our circle where we started our loop, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I happened to do that exactly how I wanted. So this is my center, this stitch right there. So you're going to grab your eyes. Did I go in here? I forgot. Okay, so I'm going to count over 3 holes from this middle stitch right here. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put one eye in there. And we'll pin that on. There's my pins. And then we're going to do 3 the other way. So there's our center right there. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put it in there. And we'll pin that on. And it's going to look funny. Believe me, I looked at this for about a week wondering why it looked so funny, and I almost didn't do it because of that. But once you sew them in, they look a lot better. I have that twisted funny. Make sure they're kind of lining up on this bottom row. I think it's just how I pinned it, but you'll be playing with these quite a bit before you actually put them on. All right, so we have our eyes where we want them. And we might as well make our eyebrows while we have our hook out, and then we can put it away for a bit. So you're going to leave a tail. Just enough to get through the back of the head and give it a tie. And we are going to chain 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And if you're worried that doesn't look long enough, do 1 or 2 more chains, and you can always hide them inside the head when you pull your eyebrows. So leave another string for tying, fairly long. Oops. And now you're going to take your brown and we're going to do his nose and face. And I might pin that for you guys, and then come back so that I kind of know what I'm doing as well. Okay, so remembering that this piece is your center, assuming you are the same as me, you're going to go down 1 row, and your nose is going to go 1 hole on each side of that center you just made again. And then you're going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and you're going to put this down for the center of your mouth and the little piece that comes from the nose to the mouth. then you are going to count over, go up 1, 2, using this string again as your center or wherever your center is there. And you're going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in the 6th hole you'll put the corner of your mouth, and 6 on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you're going to come back up to your nose, and you're going to go over 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that should help you get everything where you want it, nice, even, and straight. Okay, so grab your other brown, and we're just going to thread that. And we're going to do our nose first. So go into your stitches where you have your pins, assuming you're using them. If you're not, it's a great idea to get a few, because there's so many times pins come in handy crocheting. And then you are just going to go around those stitches quite a few times. You want to get your little nose puffed up a bit. Try not to bring the stuffing through because it will show up really good on this brown and get twisted in all your stitches, which mine already kind of is. Yeah, I got some stuffing there I'm going to have a problem with. Let's go one more time. Totally up to you how big and poofy you want your nose to get. And I'm going to come down, and I'm going to come over to this pin right here. So that'll be the corner of my mouth. Then I'm going to come up to this pin right here. And I am going to go down to the bottom center of my mouth. And then back to the corner again. And then over to this corner. Then up to the top. And back to the bottom center. Then back over to this corner. And we're going to come back through here. Try and get in between your two stitches, or your two, the way you pull your mouth over. And then we are just going to go back up and hide that down in the center again. I'm not sure how I want to tie it. think I'm going to come over here just because of where I started, and then we are going to knot that and pull it through. You could put it in somewhere else, like up in here, pull it out, but then you're going to have to move this over there and tie it too. Now I'm just going to tie a knot there. Before you commit, maybe double check that your mouth is how you want it. And then you're just going to pull this out back and through his head. Making sure that knot you made is pulled through as well, so it's not on the front of his face. So he'll look like this. I got a little piece of stuffing there. All right, I'm going to show you where to put the eyebrows before we commit to the eyes. So for my other one, I went up 3 rows from where we have the nose. So 1, 2, 3, and then I just went in these 2 stitches, leaving 1 hole in between, and then just pull that halfway through. And then you're not going to put these on just yet, so don't worry about where they're going too much. You're just going to pull them over a row or 2 up from, I don't know how to get this so you can see. Let's try this one. Then my hands are at least out of the way. All right, so make sure they're even, and then go 1 or 2 rows above where the eye is. I didn't commit these eyebrows until after I had the hat done, because I didn't want the hat to be in the way and cover them up. So I might have them a little high, but they're easy to change. Plus, if you're going to brush them, you'll be taking them out again anyways. And they're not a big deal to have unattached till you get done your jacket. So just make sure you have your eyebrows in the same row and about the same length behind, or angle. Okay. So just leave those for now, because if you're brushing them, they'll come out. And if you need to change them after you sew your eyes in, you can still take them out and move them. Now for the eyes, I'm going to let you sew them on your own, because they are going to take me a long time, just because I want them to be how I want. I'm going to tuck this in somewhere or thread it through later on. Let's see, move your eyebrow out of your way. Get your eye where you want it. You may want to add some pins. And you're just going to go down. Actually, I'm going to go under first. And then come up through your next stitch. Now I did this all the way around on the first one. And then I wasn't happy with how it went over here. So my next row around, I went over and down, but I made sure when I went down, I got good and under that eye, so you don't see your stitches you don't want them to look like this around your eye. So you want to make sure all your stitches are underneath here good. And you may have to take them out a few times. But if you want it to look the nicest you can get it, stay underneath your eyeball and go around as many times as you need. Then you'll pull that out on both sides, tie it. I think that's it, and then I'll show you how to kind of sculpt his face so it's kind of down and his neck is a little bit smaller, but I'm going to finish my eyes first. So I'm just going to pop in here. This is one eye done around one time. So now if you went around another time and went over and around the stitches instead of under, you would kind of pull these down a bit. So they're more like this. So like, see, these stitches kind of want to raise up a bit, so that will pull them down nice and tight. So up to you if you want to go around again. I am going to, I believe. I forgot we need to put the little hairs on top of his head. So all I do is take my green and just wrap it around my hand 6 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can change the length. I actually made these about 10 different times, different lengths, cut them too short, brushed them out, split them. Still not sure what I'm doing 100% with them. And you're going to fold them in half. Come up to the top of his head where you did your first round, and you're just going to put your hook in, pull it through, grab your 2 pieces of yarn, and then pull them through and tighten them up. And you're just going to do that about 6 times. Oops, I got some stuffing there. Don't want that. And I just left mine like this. They're stuffed up in his hat right now anyways. If you're not making the hat, and you're just leaving him like he is, you can cut these whatever length you feel. If you want to split them so they are like this, you can do that. You can tie a knot so that they kind of stand up like this. You just wrap a string around here and then they'll stand up. And you could also brush them out. What do I have brushed out? Well, his little arms are brushed out. You can just brush them out like this if you want as well. If you are brushing them out, make sure you separate them first. That'll make it a lot easier. Okay, and keep in mind, we have not tied off our eyebrows yet. So unless you're finished and not doing the hat and jacket, don't tie them off yet. Now we're going to grab about an arm's length of the green. And we're just going to fix his face up a tiny little bit. And I do this different every time. So if you've done it before, do it your way. or whatever feels right to you. So I'm going to come over, taking these 6 stitches again from our front when we did the arms. I'm going to come over 1 stitch. I'm going to come up on the inside of the eye, leaving a good chunk, 6 to 12 inches of yarn on one side. Then I'm going to come on the outside of the eye, or right under it, however it works. I got that eye a little lower than that one, and I purposely left that one up. Anyway, then you're going to come out on this side, on the outside or middle of the eye. And then you're going to go on the inside of the eye somewhere. Where am I on this side? I'm right in front like that. Then you're going to come down and mirror this side, and you're going to go through your the hole on the second stitch from your arm. And then you're just going to pull those down, and it's going to bring your eyes down, and it's going to bring this little mouth and cheeks kind of up. And for this guy, I am tying my, it's called sculpting, I guess. So I want these both in the same stitch so that I can tie them up fairly close to the center along the neckline. And we're going to give this a little tie, and then pull our face how we want it. Being careful about how low we bring down this cheek so he's not like looking down too much, but we can fix that a little bit. Maybe hold his eyes down while you do it, and that'll help. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to tie it again. That should secure it. And now to make his neck a little bit skinnier, we are going to weave our yarn in and out around the neckline. It should be about row 19 where we added our arms, and then stop in the center of the back, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Weave it in and out along that arm row. I think I went down one row a little bit, but that's okay. It's not going to really matter. And then make sure you come out in the same hole. So if you're not even, skip one of your last holes and come out where your other side of yarn is. Give it a light tie, keeping those ties facing the same direction. And then you're just going to pull them tight, and you're going to bring his neck in. Careful not to break your yarn, or you're going to be starting all over. And when you're happy with the size of his neck, or it's as best as you're going to get, you just tie that 2 or 3 times to secure the tension. Oh, these eyebrows. I should have cut that shorter. And then we're just going to hide our ends in here. We're almost almost done, so I'm just going to remind you all, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and you will be notified every time that I load a new video. I believe it'll also show up in your YouTube feed, but I'm not sure about that. You can give it a thumbs up or leave a comment as well. And I also will mention I have a Facebook craft page that you can go to, and you can leave a photo of whatever you made in one of the comments of one of my posts. And if you want to brush out, do I have anything up here? 1 second. If you want to brush out the eyebrows, I just have a set of these that I got in the paint section. I've always used these, like if you're sanding or scraping paint off of something in a little tiny area. Take them out first. Hold them. I wrapped one around my leg and then held the other way, and I just went back and forth a few times. Or if you want to invest a little more money, you can go buy a pet brush and use that. Are we done? I think so. Okay, so this was part 1. If you are making the jacket and the hat, I will have the link for part 2 down in the description once I have it loaded. So I guess take care, stay safe, happy crocheting.